Screw it. You know what? I got a video uploaded, but I'm not too entirely sure if I want to post it yet. It's a video of me watching Shoe on Head. Yeah. So anyways, I don't know if I want to post it yet. So instead, we're going to do this video. Welcome to the video, guys. Subscribe if you enjoy. Share if you enjoyed all that, man. Do it for the algorithm. Please, for the algorithm. I serve the... I'm losing my mind. Losing my mind. Who Cloned Tyrone? So I watched Who Cloned Tyrone. This is a review of Who Cloned Tyrone. I almost said Who Cloned Tyrone. Who Cloned Tyrone? Yeah. I mean, was it a over dramatized version of conspiracy theories that go around, or was it a documentary of things that are actually happening? Well, I'm here to tell you the truth, nothing but the truth. You can trust everything I say. Everything I say is 100% fact. No one else is right. And please, please trust me. It serves my agenda. Honestly, if that was really my message, I really think my agenda would be much more. I got a message and it threw me off my game. You may see me appear with a hoodie in a second, but man, I think serving my agenda would be better than the one that's being pushed right now. I mean, come on now, cult leader status? Just joking. Dude, on a funny side note, I don't know if anyone watching this video actually knows or is in the, because of all the content that I've been introduced to through being I don't even want to say these words, a reviewing YouTuber. Yeah. It's just funny to see different avenues. It's like all different realities that I've been introduced to, but let's say the Jordan Peterson part of the sphere. It's so funny when I say the word cult or occult. Get it out, because let me just show y'all. Type in occult in your Google. Not trying to curse. Type in Google type in Google occult. OCCULT. Supernatural, mystical, or magical beliefs or practices or phenomenon. Where does that mean in a cult, bro? You know what's so funny about how Jordan Peterson presents himself? He's a player in the game. He's badass to me. His fans, bro, and fans of people expose their intelligence so fast in the comment section, it blows my mind. And this is not to talk shit about anyone. You are literally 2 finger taps away from typing occult, and y'all don't understand that has nothing to do with a cult, which is 2 words, a cult, not a cult, a cult. I'm sorry. I've had this pent up for months since I got recommended to watch those Jordan Peterson videos, and it blew my mind that mostly everything I said in that video was taken out of context. And I was the one told that hopefully I get it in order for my sake. What the hell does that mean? Dude, my life is something. Dude, I can go over there and grab a goddamn Pop-Tart. I'm living, bro. Honestly, that's on brand for some Who Cloned Tyrone stuff. So let's get into it. All right, man. Who Cloned Tyrone? Bro, honestly, it's both. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. From my perspective, these are my own beliefs and own feelings, and you can take away what you want. Who Cloned Tyrone? Remember when everyone was saying that, Jamie Foxx probably got cloned for this thing? I don't know if he ended up in the hospital after Who Cloned Tyrone came out. I don't know. What Who Cloned Tyrone starts off as is a lot of exaggerated black, in the ghetto black stereotypes, if you know what I'm saying. And blah blah. I'm gonna say this. If you haven't watched it, please watch it instead of my review. If you don't care about getting spoiled, then okay. I'm probably not gonna do a good job of spoiling it anyways, because it's been a minute since I watched it. But the overall message that I took from it, at least, has still stuck with me, and it's just been still wild. It's just been wild. But it's wild and not wild, because I feel like the things that they were showing in that were early conspiracy theory. Like, okay, like it to somebody who is probably just like awakening up and it's like, whoa, this is happening in the world, or or what they were alluding to happening is probably like mind blowing. But for example, my mother, I've been telling her a lot of like weird shit has been happening, and what kind of mind blown her but didn't, this feels like weird wording, was the fact that I was telling her all things like this, and then Who Cloned Tyrone came out, which is why I say it's like conspiracy but also a documentary, because it's like, no, we know this is going on with ads and stuff, and they showed you in the Truman Show too. It had that Truman Show-esque vibe. Like there was one scene where the gang, I'll say, it was 3 of them from 3 different worlds, but all, you know, coming together. It was that whole a night a mage and a rogue walk into a bar. They made that kind of joke in the movie. And basically they're sitting around the table and they're trying to think about what they could do, because one night they seen Tyrone. That's Tyrone, right? Yeah. Jesus. The main character I think is Tyrone. I can't even remember. Let me go get these facts for y'all. See, I'm already all over the place. Wow, it was John Boyega that was Fontaine. Wow. It sounded like someone just fell and my recorder was on 555 for you. Angel number. I don't want to say it. Okay, that's what it is. Not Tyrone. It's just called They Cloned Tyrone. It just, my mind was like, oh, main character is Tyrone. John Boyega, he plays Fontaine. And then Jamie Foxx plays Slick Charles. And then Tiana Paris plays Yo-Yo. They're the 3 that we followed throughout this whole thing. So basically, in short, they, you know, Fontaine is killed. That's it. Fontaine is killed. They slide on the block on homie and eviscerate him from Earth. With bullets, I should be more specific. And basically, then the next day, he wakes up in the bed, kind of Groundhog Day, like, it's happening again. And he's going through his normal routine. And then, you know, he goes to visit Jamie Foxx, who is Slick Charles. And, Slick Charles, the pimp, is like, bro, what? Like, I seen them just shoot you, player. I saw them shoot you, player. What? This some real movie reference here, shit. And then I'm like, okay. So then that's the whole gist. He wants to find out, I think, like, they know who shot him. Let's just say that. He wants to find out, though, like, what's going on? How the heck is he back? He starts seeing, like, this is one of the scenes I didn't get, but he sees his dead body walking down the street at one point, and he like is like coming out the corner mark, and he's like, what the heck is that? And then like a black van just swoops him up. I'm kind of throwing pieces at y'all, but this is the whole point is there's clones of all of them. This is the worst review. I do games better. All right, but my point is, right, the table. Let's get back to the table and why I said this is like, what the hell do you call it? The Truman Show. When all 3 of them, Fontaine, Yo-Yo, and Slick Charles, are around the table trying to figure out what the hell is going on, Slick goes, you know, like the TV in the background. They are displaying TV programming. Please stay with me. Hopefully you're still staying with me at this part of the video, even though I know it's chaotic. That's just how my mind works. But the TV in the background was playing the ad for this chicken. And the whole throughout the whole movie, like the Truman Show, you see these ads going in the background. Not necessarily like everyone is displaying it, or every moment like Truman's best friend or his wife are like, oh, like you should try these Pop-Tarts, and it's very obviously an ad, and then Truman is like, who the hell are you talking to? Not in that sense. In this, it was more in the background to show you the subliminal programming, almost like it was in the background intentionally to show you how it programs your subconscious mind. So they're sitting around the table, and he thinks, you know, like Maslow's hierarchy, food. He's like, you know, we'll come up with a plan to find out what's going on if we eat. But when he's saying that, it's almost showing that the TV playing in the background is fucking with the frequencies within his mind and the vibration. He's like being influenced by the ad playing in the background. So then I think they turn to the TV, or I don't remember, but he goes like, I know this chicken spot, blah, blah, blah. They go to the chicken spot. So that scene right there was Truman Show-esque to me. It was like, okay, but it's why I say it's conspiracy, and it's also a documentary, because ads do use these psychological techniques. I mean, I don't want to say that you're living under a rock, because that is mean. I don't want to talk down on anyone, but it's because for a big portion of my life, I thought it was kind of common sense to realize advertisements do a lot of techniques with colors and everything to try to get you or get jingles stuck in your head. That was the point in the movie too. It was the same jingle, and oh, when you're hungry, come and eat this. And then when you're hungry, or that emotions are evoked in you, you think of their food, that whole programming thing. So it's conspiracy, but it's also not, because it's actually something that's happening. So let's just say it's proved, because I mean, it is. Anyways, long story short, they go to the chicken spot. They're in there and they start eating. They start, concocting this plan. And while they're eating, Fontaine starts laughing. Slick Charles is like, yo, I have never seen this motherfucker smile. He's talking to Yo-Yo. Let me keep them in character. Yo-Yo. And he's just and dying. And Fontaine is like, what the heck? And I love how they did this. I felt like it was a beautiful way to show that it felt like Slick Charles was the one the entire time talking about this chicken spot, and like he brought them there, and then he was the one to notice. Like, that was cool. Simple technique to me, but was cool how they did it. And when he looked around, it was all a synchronicity. Like, everyone started laughing in there, and he was like, and he looked at his chicken and he said, it's in the chicken. Like a reference to real life. It's in the water. Or, well, I think that comes from a movie, but don't drink the water. Some Flint, Michigan stuff. But it was kind of like that. So it was in the chicken. They freaking dropped the chicken. He's like, stop. Like, I think he slaps everything, and everyone in the chicken spot is, and it like goes back to normal. But then they go to a plan on like, yo, we need to figure out where the chicken's being manufactured, blah, blah, blah. Then there's this whole play on all the owners of this spot are in this little town. Like, the ones who are running all these shops are like white dudes, or like very, very light-skinned guys with afros, all the same afro. So that was more the comedy aspect. It's like a white dude with an afro is a manager of all these places that are like pumping these products into the communities. Another point where this happened, where for what I want to talk about, is when they go to a hair salon to get some more information or something along the sort. They end up seeing the same vans distributing these products go to the hair salon. And it was a whole play on the, like, okay, so I'm going to say it like this, because I'm trying to find a way to relay it in a way where it's just you instantly get it. The barbershop talk as a black male. I hope y'all all have had that experience in your life. It's great. Where everyone's just like, the barbershop feels like the place where everything's just talked about. It's like a real hangout, that stuff, that experience. Hopefully you've got that authentic experience as a child. I was in the suburbs, so it was more like Italian barbers, but I'm also Italian. So it's like Italian, I feel like when it comes to anybody who's spicy white, that's what I call it. Spicy white, they're damn near black, and everyone is technically black. It's the origin, so whatever. So everyone's niggas. But the point is that they go to a hair salon, which I feel is the women equivalent of the boys' barbershop. And basically in there, you have the women talking about their problems, blah, blah, blah. And when they would put this hair product in their hair, it would like make them docile. It would basically stop, like they would be like complaining. Like there was the one woman who is fresh in my mind is the teacher. guys, I'm telling you, I'm doing hopefully a great job because I've watched this like maybe over a month or two ago. So yeah, bear with me. But she she was talking about school supplies and needing, I don't know, more support or money from maybe like get more government funded stuff. And when the product of the hair stuff got put through her hair, it like relaxed her. Literally, it was a relaxer that relaxed her. So I thought that was a cool play on things too. I think it was supposed to be a relaxer. I could be wrong. I don't know like hair products that much, but pretty much it just completely like erased those emotions. Now, long story short, our gang, the Scooby Doo crew, realized this and was like, "Wow!" And Yo-Yo was like, "These motherfuckers." And there's a little comedic bit in there with the people who shot Fontaine, But I feel like that comes together at the end, so I don't want to touch on that right now. But pretty much, they track this van all the way back. They have Slick Charles hop in the van while those dudes are distributing the goods, and he gets locked in the back of the van. Now Fontaine and Yo-Yo got to go get his ass, and they're basically noticing, whoa, these products are in everything. They're distributing them. Whoa. Seen that coming, and I think they built it up for you to see it coming. So anyways, long story short, they find the cloning center because they got down there once. That's where they see Tyrone for the first time. They see the scientist down there working. He's singing to himself. He's like, "You're not supposed to be in here." And they were showing, this is the beginning. I'm hopping back to the beginning. Basically, when they seen all this, it was that feeling of, oh, we shouldn't be fucking with this. Like, we're getting into something we don't know. But of course, I feel like that's why I said how I'm going to encode it a little bit is that's literally consciousness. You stumble on this awakening and it's like, there's no going back. You gotta walk the path now. Let's go. Like, you've noticed it, you're awake, you're seeing these inconsistencies within the world. There's no going back to sleep. Like, we gotta be basically they became the heroes. It's like we gotta become the heroes now, or the anti-hero, like middle, like Deadpool shit. I don't know. Anyways, and I'm gonna say another thing, but when I get to the end of I'll save it. But pretty much that's how the movie kicked off right there after he died and they found the cloning center for the first time, or at least one of their small outposts of it, or they were in a section of it. This will make sense later. And and then that was a play on when they all got out of it and got away and sped off and stayed the night at Yo-Yo's house. They went back to the house and it was just a normal house. And they showed how they flip it overnight. I definitely feel like this is possible in real life for sure. I sometimes truly have believed, because I mean, I've been a suburb black my whole life. No, I've been in the suburbs and I definitely feel like, have y'all ever had that feeling that there were fake buildings? I used to feel like that as a kid, that there were buildings that I felt like I was being stared at from, but were fake buildings that then like either get remodeled or just flipped out of nowhere. Some strange shit. But that was more of a personal level for me on how they flipped it so fast. But I thought that was a play on how they say like overnight, like, it's like the UFO sighting type of thing. Or I swear to God, just a second ago, there was a whole band of them here. And now it's just an empty parking lot. It was that sort of trope. But going back to the hair salon stuff and when they had to go get Slick because he got stuck in the back of the van, they go to find him. They find the van. Basically, then it started to play on how religion was connected to this whole thing. And the purple drink that they were seeing, which I thought that was a play also on black people drinking Kool-Aid, funny enough. And it was like a play on Jim Jones. Jim Jones is the dude, right? I kind of looked this up too, geez. I have so much going on in my mind. Yes, it was. It was a whole play on the Jim Jones thing. I don't know that for sure. I don't want to say factual. I'm just saying I think it was a play on that. They also, I'm not doing the old man justice, who was, I think it was it Frog? Let me see real quick. I have to see through the cast. I'm looking at the list right now to see who the old man sitting out the outside the store that Fontaine would always go to. And also Junebug, the kid. He played a very important role for Fontaine because Fontaine had a dead brother. So, yeah. Yeah, so, okay, so I didn't even get on Junebug because to me that was just like a minuscule part of the story, but Junebug was basically the kid that brought up these SpongeBob references, and it was supposed to be like Bullet Train did this, where his childlike mindset, it's almost like the childlike wisdom of seeing how each person in the world was like Squidward, or he said Fontaine was Squidward, and Fontaine was like, I'm not Squidward. And that whole thing where understanding how a child understood that these archetypes in some of these cartoons are played out in people in real life. In Bullet Train, they did a similar thing where the dude compared everyone to certain trains. And he was like, okay, someone on board, like, oh, he said you're a real, let me get the names of the trains. Okay, so basically he would be like, oh, you know, you're a real Cranky, or you're an Emily, or you're a Percy, or a Gordon, or a Henry. That was the same thing with the whole SpongeBob thing. At least to me, that's the connection I made, because it was like basically a kid seeing these archetypes in people. And, you know, how Squidward is, if you watch SpongeBob, if you're, you know, if you watch Thomas the Train Engine, is it Tank Engine? Tank Engine? Whatever. You see that, you know, in Bullet Train, that's how he did his detective work. And it's funny because everyone in that, or at least the people that worked together, were kind of like, oh, what are you talking about? But then they got it when he would leave the stickers around of the trains, because he was obsessed with that there was this deeper meaning, which is kind of showing that you could find deeper meanings in everything, or at least you could encode it and blah blah blah, and decode if there's anything to decode. But the whole point was he used that technique to ultimately find out who the person was that was misleading everybody. This is Bullet Train, by the way. And he said, we have a diesel on board. And he said diesels were always shit stirrers and someone that was like mischievous and not telling the truth and playing around. And when he found out who the diesel was, it was all like revealed. I love how Bullet Train did it. I think it was Bullet Train. Let me see. Yes, it was Bullet Train. It was Bullet Train, and the assassin was Ladybug. It had Brad Pitt and everything. Yeah, I loved Bullet Train. I should do a review on that. That was pretty cool. And yeah, and the symbolism with Bullet Train was pretty cool too. Back to Who Cloned Tyrone. We're gonna wrap this up so it's not crazy 30-minute long thing. Well, hopefully I try to get it under 30 minutes. It's pretty much Frog, who was basically the old wise dude, said something about trains one time, which blew my mind, bro. When he was, because there was obviously this reference to consciousness, but if I were to truly get on that route, this would take forever. But there were references to consciousness in this whole thing of like Neo in the train and like the path. And when you hear a train or whatever, at least from my own personal life, what that meant is you're on track, or you're leveling up to a higher consciousness, and some synchronicities with trains. But they were doing this in the movie subtly, and then it kind of got bigger for the reveal at the end. But I'm gonna just get to the end so we get to this. So basically, everything I said before does happen in real life. You see it. You know, whether people talk about McDonald's or Burger King or the colors they use and all the ads and the jingles. It's like I did this experiment with my roommate. I said a jingle and she heard the rest of the lyrics in her head. It shows how programmed some of this stuff we have been in our head. Like, you know, Popeye's chicken right here. Love me, like, you know, or is it love that chicken. And you could probably finish it. You see what I'm saying? And it's things like that. It's like they're programmed. They're programming us. Like I always feel like it was never hard to notice. What's another jingle? Let me think of another jingle. Already? Tell me if you know what this is. I don't know if I got the pitches right for the whistle, but like, come on. It's the Old Spice whistle. Like, this is how they get you. So when the ads were being shown in Who Cloned Tyrone, that felt very like surface level for me. I'm like, oh, this shit's deeper than this. Like, they're still showing that this is literally kind of what they're doing. And then basically, anyways, it turned out that elevator they found in the house that flipped overnight was a whole cloning facility under the ground where they're basically writing down your emotions. They are putting these products out and they're collecting the data on you, which makes me think about a song by B.O.B. called Fool's Gold. Look it up on SoundCloud, look it up on whatever. I would play a clip it here, but copyright. So, or claim. No, wait. Oh my gosh, I've been a YouTuber this long, and the difference. The regular one that doesn't really affect your video, but it does just affect the revenue. is in that song he put like they're collecting data on this, on that, on you, what you like, the algorithm. You'll say something and then an ad will pop up. Basically, Who Cloned Tyrone was still showing this kind of surface level thing going on, but when it got into the cloning center, it was a little bit more in depth and dramatized, where it's like they are literally have people sitting here writing down what effects the products are having on people. It's crazy. Yo-Yo gets captured at one point because Fontaine and Slick want to go back to their normal lives, and that's what leads them all to go get Yo-Yo. Is they end up going in there together and seeing the clones of themselves and whatever, and they're like, oh, nah, like I don't know what we found, but let's back out. They didn't want to keep going. But then after Yo-Yo got captured, it was like, nah, like we can't play around. It was that whole thing. We got to rescue her. I'm getting chills because it was that to be turned into like a cute story. They were going for one of their own. And then I really love how at the end, they realize that they have surveillance cameras everywhere, the whole surveillance thing, blah, blah, blah. The person who shot Fontaine in the beginning, him and like his crew, they all end up coming together and they make this whole big extravagant show to put on for the surveillance to trick them like it was still a normal day of stuff happening, crime, this, that. Also, one of the big baddies in the show who was like serving the higher ups, he had whatever the products that they were using in people, they had trigger words that they could say to someone and freeze them. So it'd be like, oh, I'm talking to you, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd be like, XYZ freeze. And I'm like this, and I get stuck. And I feel like that is actually, I don't want to say that there is hypnosis in programming like that exists in real life. Just like there's too much I could go on with that, so I don't want to go down that avenue right now. But pretty much one of the main, like the little mini boss baddies, that guy showed Fontaine and Yo-Yo them earlier that they're not going to be able to do anything. So then that's what they did. They started to put on this show and trick, knowing that every time they killed, at least I would say Yo-Yo, Slick, or Fontaine, which they didn't really kill the other two because that would have been a lot to put, but killing Fontaine, he would keep waking up and retaining his memory, that whole thing. So they wanted to put on a show, and that's what they did. They started thinking of this whole extravagant thing where he would get there, get killed by the one guy who killed him, and it would be like this, what is it? It'd basically be, why did I want to say Phantom of the Opera? It was like literally Broadway in the town, and it showed everybody coming together and what could happen if everybody came together. Now, I want to throw some speculation out there. I feel like if Jamie Foxx in real life got cloned or his consciousness got switched or whatever happened to him, it could have been because of these parts. Because I felt like everything else was pretty surface level. A McDonald's ad pops up. Oh my God, you're feeling hungry, because in the McDonald's ad, they freaking show a family going to get blah, blah, blah. And they use the yellow chakra and blah, blah, blah. And every time they're about to get McDonald's, it's when they're celebrating something or something like that. It's like, okay, that's surface level, to me at least. But when it got deeper was when they got the whole community in the hood to unify and take down the cloning center. That's where I think, because that is honestly, and I don't want to say this, I'm not saying anything for anyone listening in case this video gets shadow banned. That unity is pretty crazy if everyone would just set aside their differences and, I don't know, change the world for a better future for the kids, let's say. Unity is a strange thing. You know what I'm saying? Unity is a really weird thing. Really odd that they keep us divided. But basically, you can see the rest from there. They basically bring all these mofos down to the cloning center. They come in with straps, and they have the whole joke of like, black people got to be on the phone telling the whole. It was a lot of just dramatic stereotypes, and they're literally raiding the whole cloning facility. One sec. Well, the whole gist is though is that they all came together. They raid this cloning facility, and then Fontaine Fontaine also memorized one of the codes they used for one of the more programmed like big guys that they had. And basically Fontaine gets to the main room, and this is where the spoiler is, so get out for the ending, is that the geneticist that started this whole cloning was himself. He was the clone, but the geneticist with the gray and everything, all the other Fontaine clones were based on him, the original dude. And the geneticist was black. And it was this whole thing, right? I feel like there's a lot you can pick apart about this. That's why I'm not going to say too much, right, on what my final verdict on him being the geneticist was. But I want to say one of these things that they were trying to say, at least what I think, is that the original man, period, not going to say any more. The original man, the original plan came from a black mind, and a lot of other stuff that you could take this and spin it in different directions. That's all I'm going to say on that. And that he told them that he ended up sparing him from the real, and I felt bad here because he said he ended up sparing all clones of him of the memory of his actual brother's death, his actual little brother's death, because he's the only one that actually experienced the real moment of his brother's death and how they took him and how all of these experiments on everybody was necessary because he's trying to stop all this from happening by forcing behaviors on people, which if you look in today's day and age of what's going on, you could see what they were alluding to. And obviously very distraught, Fontaine was like, no way that this kid, like, this is not the way to do it. There's got to be a better way. First of all, there's always a better way. Sometimes there's a lot of sacrifices that need to be made, which is why I say, in his perspective, I could see it from his perspective where he believes this is the way, but ultimately everything is cause and effect, right? And I'm pretty sure you can know the ending from there. It's the ending that you would want to wish. Fontaine ends up killing the original, which is him, the geneticist. So like, I guess ending the cloning things going down in that area, the news trying to cover it, and everything's going wild, and they're showing how the news probably wouldn't be able to keep up if an event like this happened. And then it showed across the world that there were clones everywhere, that this dude's research, this singular black geneticist research, has spread throughout the whole nation. It's all happening on the East Coast, it's happening on the West Coast, sort of thing. And we cut to a Fontaine looking guy on the West Coast that has a similar thing where he goes through the whole daily routine, but then ended up sitting with his bros and they're watching the news of all these clones coming up. And the friend next to him goes, hey, why does that guy look like you on the TV? And it's showing. Yeah. So it got pretty deep at points. A lot of other, I feel like this. It was a lot of surface level things. And then you have to kind of figure out what you think the deeper meaning is underneath. By no means is my analysis of the movie correct, but a lot of the things are stuff that we're experiencing right now in reality. With the whole geneticist part and the cloning and everything and the shifting consciousness to, like, they can make the body and then shift the consciousness, all that like got deeper, but yeah, I think there's still deeper things that you can look for in this. But then I also, when I learned about what encoding meant, I don't want to be putting too much into it. That's like my own metaphysical research, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So that's it. hopefully I did a good job of doing that. I feel pretty good. Do you feel pretty good? And Ukon and Tyrone was nuts. It was just nuts off the fact that they're being more honest now, because to release something like this and then people who get it actually get it, who, you know, it's like, wow, it's kind of wild that they would shoot something like this. And yeah, I guess the note I would end on is, if you enjoyed the video, share it with your peers, and they got Jamie Foxx.